this has sort of shifted to more of a rain event right now. Here we are. It's 10:30 in the afternoon. We're at 32 degrees, or 10:30 in the morning, I should say. I've been here since 4 a.m. And we are now dealing with this rain. So that could make the situation pretty interesting. Meteorologist Chessie McNeil is standing by. What are we seeing right now, Chessie? Still a mix or more so rain?
It's a mix, and it's going to be different in different spots depending on where you are based on the temperatures and the way they line up. Some people still seeing some sleet, some people seeing a little bit of rain with some sleet mixed in, but we're expecting that more to be the trend as we head through the afternoon. So that's something we're going to continue to monitor. Here's another look at our north side hospital camera, and you can now see the King and Queen building. I was showing you this before, couldn't even see it, right? The clouds over us, that snow was coming down out there. Now seeing less of the snow and seeing more of a rain sleet mix, maybe even some freezing rain starting to get in there. This is what we talked about. Really didn't want to see it this early on and hope that maybe it'll start to taper off before it begins to amp back up again. But the frozen precipitation is going to create more of the problem on the roadways. Not a lot of people out on the roadways, as you can see, which is a good sign. Want to go down a little bit to I-285 to 75. This is Cloverleaf, and we saw plow trucks just clearing this ramp right here. This is the ramp coming from 75 going to 285. That's a high occupancy lane ramp there, which is why it's snow covered there. Not sure if they'll clear that off. This would be 285 here and then 75 there. And even on 75, not seeing a whole lot of people out on the roads. That is some good news so far, but you can still see some snow coming down over toward the Truist Park area. So there is some snow mixed in. Look at the road temperatures right now. We have some that are just above the freezing mark. We have some below, and then some that are well above. Up here to the north, for example, over toward Blue Ridge, you're looking at a 30-degree temperature on the roads there. A little bit further down to the south, it gets a little bit warmer. 34 over toward Holcomb Bridge. That's Chris's bridge, by the way. Every time I see that, I always think about Chris Holcomb. You're looking at 36 over toward I-75 and 10th Street. You get a little bit cooler once you go further to the south. So you got a 30-degree road temperature over toward I-85 near Noonan, and then 33 down toward Troop Wayne Station further down to the south. All right, and so we'll watch these as we continue through the day. Because there is snow on the ground, some of those temperatures will probably start to drop as we head through the day. And now with the ice on top of that, certainly it will stay on the colder side and remain slick as we head through the rest of the afternoon. And this was just mentioned in that news report earlier that it's going to take them some time to get out there on some of those back roads. They treat the highways first, and some of the major back roads they get to next, and then of course neighborhoods really hard to get to with but so many crews, right? What we're seeing is consistent with what's being reported as far as the sleet starting to mix in. Chris mentioned this earlier about the radar having a hard time trying to determine what is snow, what is sleet, and so you get these little blobs popping up on the radar here. I do want to pull this out a little bit here. Up to the north, I want to show you where it was darker, where we haven't seen much in the way of snow up in the far northeastern counties. We'll pull this out, and I want to show you how things are transitioning just to our west. So if you look at Alabama here, notice 65 here, I-20 right here, where it was all snow at one point, and now you can see with some of that warm air starting to lift, where it's becoming a little bit more in the way of green and some mixing taking place. That's going to be the case, I believe, for us as this line continues to lift further off to the north. Two indications there is that some warmer air could be coming in there. Also, that the area of low pressure driving this may be lifting a little bit further to the north. We were anticipating that coming through the southern portions of our state. So as that begins to lift north, that rain snow line will begin to lift to the north as well, which is why we were predicting higher totals of snow up to the far North Georgia mountains, because it would be snowing there a lot longer, or slow and or sleet along with that. And so we'll watch it become a little bit more rainy, if you will, in our southernmost counties down toward the Macon area, which is why they have the winter weather advisory. The winter storm warning is for our area, because we could see, again, that mixed bag. Got the snow already in place, and now looking for some of that sleet and freezing rain to begin to mix in. It's when that takes place that we think the conditions will start to deteriorate even more. A lot of folks out enjoying the snow. Hard to enjoy the snow when there's ice around, or if there's ice coming down. I believe Nicole mentioned it earlier when she was standing outside and there was sleet coming down almost hard on her face, just standing out there trying to report. So Rome, Atlanta, over to Athens, even now Augusta. Augusta has been added into the winter storm warning. You see it there. That to the south of that purple area that you see down there toward Macon is a winter weather advisory, and this will last until 7 a.m. tomorrow, where conditions will still be on the bad side. Now, even though we're talking about the precipitation ending by about 9, 10 o'clock tonight, with the temperatures going back down into the 20s, refreezing certainly is going to take place. And so trying to get up early in the morning navigating will be very difficult as well. In fact, that may linger into early afternoon because the temperatures won't rise all that much. We talked about the actual air temperatures. Chris and I had a conversation about it as well. And we do think the temperature will hover around the freezing mark. We were anticipating a high getting up to about 35 degrees, but now we're looking at 32, and we think it'll get up to about maybe 33 at times, may dip down a little bit, depending on how much precipitation is over us. That will drop that temperature off a little bit. But at or below the freezing mark, everywhere you look up here to the far north, you got temperatures in the 20s. 32 degrees in Marietta and Atlanta right now, 32 in Covington, 31 in Carrollton, 29 degrees over toward Georgia's Rome. Been showing you that camera as well, where the snow has begun to subside. Wider look at this shows it's a massive system, so it's going to take some time. That's why we're saying this is an all-day event. All right, all-day event. Not going to get out of here anytime soon. Again, we're not expecting it to taper off until later on tonight, but you can see the rain where the temperatures support that a little bit back further to the south and west. So there's a lot of moisture streaming up into our way, and so we'll be stuck with this pretty much for the rest of the day, folks. So sit back, relax a little bit. Again, we talked about the potential for ice, especially on our roadways out there. Greatest potential for this, I'm going to say, in the Atlanta metro area up into the north and east of the city. So right along I-85, heading up toward the northeast, I-985 heading up into Hall County. That's where it could be the worst. The potential for more or higher accumulations of the ice. We're talking about 1/4 of an inch or greater in some of these spots, and that could lead to more problems, especially on the roadways.